Be Your Best You, the Passionate to Purpose podcast with David Delaney. It's Friday, good morning, and you're very welcome to this episode of Be Your Best You. This morning we head to London to talk to Christiane Wuillamie, who joins us to tell us her story. Christiane is an expert in shaping technology, security, business systems, and cultural change to help companies across the globe solve complex business challenges. In the 90s, she established CWB, an international consulting software and managed services company, and she grew that business 100% year on year without any external investments. Christiane credits her company's success to its thriving culture, which was based on accountability, feedback, and personal development, and she went on to sell this company for a healthy profit. She has won many awards, notably an OBE for her services to business and tireless support of SMEs. Join us to find out what drives Christiane to do what she does. Good morning, Christiane Wuillamie, and you're very, very welcome to this morning's podcast.
Good morning, David. Thank you for asking me.
Christiane, tell us whereabouts in the world, where are you this morning?
Oh, I'm in Hammersmith in London by the river.
Okay, nice.
And the weather is wonderful.
I think that's pretty much around the world at the moment. We don't know. Christiane, I'm just going to get straight into it, and I suppose tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you do? Who is Christiane Wuillamie?
I would describe myself as someone with very grand ideas and trying to implement those ideas. So at the moment, I run a company that links culture, risk, and performance. And it's a new sector and sometimes quite difficult to explain, but because it's so obvious.
Okay. And company culture, I mean, obviously we've had challenges, we've all had the obvious challenge in the last 12 months. Company culture is something that maybe is a challenge for a little bit longer, but in the last 12 months, are there any kind of obvious challenges resulting in the pandemic for your business and your work?
Yes, indeed. We were used to work in group, open offices, talking to each other, have human contact. And now we're all working from home, or most of us. And also, even if we work in a factory or anywhere, there's a big social distancing rule with wearing masks. That really break the human intervention and human interaction. And it affects the company culture a lot.
Okay. And how, I mean, the companies that you work with, like they range from big multinationals to smaller companies. Does culture get lost the bigger the company becomes?
I think culture gets lost in general, whether the company is large or small, because people do not understand that culture is nothing to do, or not to do with employee survey, behavioral science. Culture is in everything that we do in our life, from the people side, the technology, the process, how to link all that. And we can only just describe culture at the moment generally from people's behavior. Now, when people behave a certain way, there are many things that affects that behavior upstream. And I think that's what we need to understand more in terms of, the way management behave affects the way you work, the way the IT system don't work affects the way you work, the frustration about policies, procedures, etc.
Okay. So it's challenging. I mean, how difficult? I mean, is culture something that's difficult to manage at the moment? For a lot of companies.
Culture, it is difficult to manage because people need other people, or need to interact with other people to be effective, to generate new ideas. And we are tribal, so we hang around with each other and work better that way for creativity, for productivity, etc. And the way culture affects companies right now is that the management have to over communicate to make sure that people are not lonely, that they don't develop mental health, that they are they still belong. But the fascinating thing is that CEO are starting to communicate more. So in a converse way, employees are actually seeing their CEO more than before. So the whole line of management is broken down.
Okay. So what I'm hearing, Christiane, is that fundamentally, I mean, a lot of the work that you do is about people. It's about the person, and then the process and whatnot follows on from that. I mean, you've said that successful businesses are the result of good leadership, coupled with a culture that fosters people, personal development. So yourself as a person, where did this come from? Like when you were younger, you know, was starting out in the business game, I mean, where did this come from?
I think it comes from where I was born in Vietnam during the war, and my whole family was in the military, and my father was a senior naval officer. He taught me very early on, besides teaching me how to deal with a gun at the age of 10, which is unusual. He taught me that in the military, the soldiers you get in your platoon or whatever, they're not the people you've chosen. So you just get to command people. You have to work out then, understand the strengths and challenges of each individual and play to their strengths. And that's how he taught me about leadership and about how to deal with people and see their strengths and their potential and build on that. Because let's face it, we can just focus on criticizing our challenges all the time, but that's not going to change anything.
Okay, so it's not about taking sides.
It's about getting the person to perform at their best.
Okay.
Leveraging on their strengths, yeah.
Okay. And that's something, I mean, you mentioned Vietnam and coming to the UK. I mean, you were what age? 19?
Well, I came to France first to study, and I came to the UK when I was 18.
Okay.
17 actually, and I was going to be a nurse, and I copped out. I just thought, my God, you know, it's just too hard.
Right.
And
well, when you were 19 and having worked with people, I mean, you did something. I think I read somewhere that the UNHCR, they recognized you as this person who had potential for, I mean, at that age, that young age, had potential for leadership. What did you do with them?
Well, it was an accident, really. At the time, the British government declared that merchant ship who picked up Vietnamese refugees at sea could bring them to the UK. So one of the first ships, called the Sibonga, in 79, the result of which is that the UNHCR and other organizations had to set up resettlement or camp to house these people. And I happened to be stumbled over the UNHCR, and I volunteered because I spoke Vietnamese. So we had to set up an old disused RAF camp near Christchurch in Hampshire, and welcome all these refugees. And it was quite a traumatic time because, for example, I was in charge of the medical center, and there was no bottles, no powdered milk, no sterilizer. And everybody assumed that Vietnamese women breastfed their babies, but they didn't realize that Nestle did such a good job in Vietnam that everyone thought cow's milk was better than mother's milk. So it's quite an interesting, I think, experience, because you have people who just arrive from all different socioeconomic background, all lumped together. So you would have a fisherman living in the same hut as a doctor's family, or a an academic family, so you can imagine the tension was quite the tension and the was quite dramatic sometimes. And because people assume that they're refugees, they all look the same, but their needs were very different.
Okay, so it's safe to say then that the experiences that you garnered at that age and in the work that you were doing carried through into the business work that you ended up doing. I mean, you through the work that you've done, I know you've been recognized by Veuve Clicquot, Ernst & Young. They've all recognized the work that you have done in business turnaround as a business advisor. Most recently, you've been awarded an OBE for your services to business. Tell me a bit about that.
I think I put people front and center in everything I do, because despite technology, strategy, or all these other big tools that we have, unless we get the people to work together, to work to a common goal and treat people decently, the outcome will not be as good as it could be. So to me, everything boils down to people. And as a technologist, but I've had 40 years of background in technology. I'm really, really firm on thinking and understanding that people is at the center of everything that we do.
Okay. And the OBE itself, just I'm curious, is it good crack going to the palace and being awarded this?
That's a funny story. I helped the government between 2010 2015 I was very outspoken, actually. I was very involved with many projects supporting SMEs, from financing to employment law to export, etc. And I always made my views very clear. So I had an email, a letter in 2016, but because I moved house, I never got it.
All right.
So in 2017, when later on, they just emailed me and said, "Didn't you want it?" But anyway, going to the palace was such an honor, because, as you know, immigrants are more patriotic than people who are born in Britain. And I'm terribly, very patriotic. And I was very privileged because it was presented by Prince William, and it was so slick, because the way it was done is unbelievably slick. So Prince William's was told a couple of words about me, stepped towards me and said, "I understand you're quite a troubleshooter." And after that, we talked about his trip to Vietnam and Vietnamese food.
Okay. So, is it good fun? Is it just kind of in, out, thermally out, or is there a party? Is there a crack after?
It's not quite a party, but you are briefed. The whole process is very well done, because you get briefed by the right people. You're told how to curtsy. Ladies have to give up their handbags, because you have to walk in with no handbags. And it's just very, very well done. It's a very good atmosphere. You can bring your family. I got to drive my car and park inside Buckingham Palace.
Pretty cool. Is there anything, Christiane, you would change about the culture of Buckingham Palace, or are you happy enough with what's going on there?
Well, I think the Queen in particular has been the best leader in the world, the way that she represents the UK, and I think that is a very special part of the UK, the royalty. Okay. Don't know how long it lasts, but it has worked really well.
Excellent. Christiane, what advice would you give your 17-year-old self?
What do you mean?
If you met yourself, if you could say, if your 17-year-old self was in front of you right now, what would you say? Would you say, Christiane?
I would have said, I'm not sure if I changed many things. I've taken a lot of risk all my life. I always wanted to be a medical doctor. And at the time, I didn't do that. I think that's what I would have done. I would have said, try to find a way to study and to become a doctor. I think that's what I would have done, because that side of healthcare fascinates me.
Okay.
And I've done many projects in healthcare as well. So.
Okay. And if I were to ask you, do you have a favorite song or a piece of music? Sounds like a random question, but I'm just curious.
Well, Bohemian Rhapsody and Queen Queen is my favorite group of all time. The other song that I really like is Tina Turner, You're Simply the Best.
Okay. It's fascinating because people that question seems to stump most people. So you can straight up with the answer. That's good. Good. Christiane, tell me, I suppose, who inspires you? Is there one person, living or dead, that you would look to in terms of lessons that they're teaching or have taught? Is there a single person, or even a couple of people that will inspire you, and why?
I think many people inspire me, and some people are not even well known. I just find that my daughter always laugh at me because I talk to everyone. So even before the pandemic, if I catch the tube, I talk to people at the gate, and I say thank you. And since the pandemic, I say thank you even more to the people sweeping the street, etc. Because I learned that it doesn't matter the position of the person or the job they do. When you start finding out about them, they're fascinating and very inspiring. For example, I traveled to Atlanta one day, and this I didn't know he was from Afghanistan, but that's why he was pushing my wheelchair because I had an accident, an operation to my feet, and so he was pushing my wheelchair. So I spoke to him, and he trained as an architect in Afghanistan. And there he is, a porter in the airport, pushing my wheelchair, And he's so well-spoken, so polite, and I learned so much about his culture, his family, and people like that inspire me. I don't need to, of course, there are many other learned people and people in public position that are inspiring, but I find inspiration more with the day-to-day people I meet.
Okay. Christiane, I'm going to ask you, with technology playing such a big role in your business side of things, is there an app that's changed your life in the last 10 years?
Apple Pay.
Okay.
That is terrible.
Well, look, it doesn't need any explanation at all. It is exactly what it says on the tin.
I'm a huge consumer of technology.
Yeah.
And I'm fascinated with technology, and I'm a really gadget person. So.
Okay. Christiane, we're just coming up on time, so we're going to leave it there. And I just want to say thanks for joining us this morning. Where can people find out about the work that you do? Is there a website or LinkedIn? Where's the best place that people can find out a little bit more about?
You can find me on LinkedIn at Christiane Wuillamie. It's just a very long name, and I have to spell it all the time. But otherwise, my company is PYXISculture.com.
Okay. Christiane, thank you very much. And that's it for another week. Thanks for joining us this morning, and do join us next time on Be Your Best You. Have a good week.